Camera phone, drop his Acapone, turn your lights off, nigga, we been on.
What is going on, everyone? My name is Heian and welcome to Armored Warfare PS4 Early Access. Now, before I start, I want to ask, can you guys hear a difference in my audio quality? And if you can, is it better or worse? I think it's better, but I don't know, I might be a little biased because I just paid all this money for this new mic, but yeah. Definitely let me know in the comments if this is a better mic or a worse mic than my previous one. But without further ado, let's get to the video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the T72 Earl, which is the Tier 4 Russian MBT. In fact, it is one of two Tier 4 Russian MBTs. Its direct competitor being the T64A, which is a very similar vehicle. Now, before I get into the stats and all that of this vehicle, I want to go ahead and say that this vehicle is insane. And I'm going to go ahead and recommend that you pick it up even before you finish this review because it is just that good. But for all you people that don't believe me, let's go ahead and jump into its stats. So right off the bat, 550 alpha damage is crazy. When someone gets hit by you, they know about it. And later in the video, I'm going to show you guys a trick to get more alpha damage out of this thing's gun. So, moving right along, we get to the penetration, which is a very healthy 310 millimeters. This honestly feels a lot more usable than the 270 that you get with the 105 millimeter on the M60A1 Patton. But I guess that's balanced by the fact that that vehicle gets ERA armor. But before I get too off track talking about other Tier 4 MBTs, let's go ahead and get to the DPM, which is a crazy 3500. This thing shreds up its enemies so fast. I cannot tell you how satisfying it is to be able to trade shots with tank destroyers of equal tier. This is probably my favorite part of the T72. And nextly we get to the mobility of the T72, and it is very good. 61 km/h top speed is very healthy. That is on par with a lot of medium tanks and even a few wheeled tank destroyers. And this top speed is not just some on-paper statistic that you'll never reach. This vehicle goes 0 to 32 in about 5 seconds. And not only this, but unlike the M60A1, this vehicle is actually quite maneuverable. 37 degrees a second of hull traverse is very nippy for something that has this much armor and this much firepower. And so it definitely trumps the M60A1 there. But really the first con of this vehicle comes when you get to the gun depression, which is 6 degrees. This makes the vehicle fairly inflexible and makes it hard to use your insane turret armor on ridgelines and slight gradient. And aiming down on opponents that are below you can also be a pretty big problem, as you will have to reveal your weak lower plate armor if you want to be able to damage them. So it's not all good news for the T72. And 20 degrees a second turret traverse is not very good either. You'll find that most of the stuff that tries to circle you, you'll be able to keep your gun on, at least if you move your hull and your turret at the same time, but you won't be able to keep your front armor towards them. And as soon as the wheeled tank destroyers and pretty much any wheeled vehicle starts to get around you, good luck. So nextly we move on to armor for this vehicle, and it is not bad at all, but it does have a few weak points. These being the lower plate and the turret ring. Now the turret ring is not really an issue unless you decide to face hug your opponents. From mid to long range, the only opportunity people really have to damage your vehicle is the lower glacis, and even that is a pretty small target. But other than that, your vehicle is pretty impenetrable from the front, having 460 millimeters on the front of the turret, 205 on the front of the hull, and even your side armor is pretty strong because of these track guards that add space protection to the side of the vehicle. And of course, everything will be penetrating your rear armor, but you know, what vehicle has good rear armor at Tier 4? So next I'm going to show you the little alpha damage secret that lies within this vehicle's gun. And these are its heat rounds. Its heat rounds are completely insane, and I think they might be a little bit overtuned. But let's go ahead and take a look at their statistics, and then you can make the decision of whether you think they're a little bit too powerful. Now, as far as the alpha damage goes, it's a little bit of a lie when it comes to the on-paper statistics. It says 495 to 605, but in the replay that I'm going to be showing you, you will see me getting rolls well over 700. And that is probably my favorite part about these heat rounds, is that their alpha damage is just so high, and there's no difference in reload. And the next big difference you'll see is in the penetration. These heat rounds have 420 millimeters of penetration. That is way more than the standard 310 millimeters of penetration that you get on the standard rounds of this vehicle. The only drawback really to these shells is shell velocity, and you know, it's not that big of a deal when you get this much of an upgrade over the previous shell. So if you do decide to pick up the T72, definitely spam the heat rounds with it because there's no reason not to. And with that, I'm pretty much done with the in-garage review of the T72. I have one replay to show you, and it is from the live stream that I did last night. Big shout out to everyone who decided to tune into that. I had a lot of fun. It was my first time live streaming and it was very successful. So yeah, but just a heads up, this is a defeat, this replay, but it's still pretty insane game. I got a lot of damage done and had some pretty cool moments. It was very, very close game. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So here we are on Ghostfield, and unfortunately I didn't get to save just the replay, so I'm gonna have to turn down the audio a bit so you don't hear my voice in the background. I was talking to my streamers, I was commentating on the game, so I'm gonna try to turn that down a little bit so that doesn't get in the way of me talking. But we are top tier, and immediately what I'm thinking is I'm going to attack the cap that is closest to me. That is the 1 cap, I believe. So, game's about to start, and immediately you can get an idea of the T72's just absolutely crazy mobility. This thing accelerates so fast, turns on a dime, just very maneuverable, very easy to get your armor towards your opponents. I was just very pleased with the overall mobility of this vehicle. So we are pushing into position, and I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it to the part where I get to the cap, so this video isn't super long for no reason and I don't have to do all this filler audio. So, as you can see, we are closing in on the cap, and I'm going to be very aggressive because I know that their tier 4 is very squishy, and he's probably not going to be here, and, you know, this thing versus tier 3s, it's not very fair if I'm totally honest. And we bump into the rocks. I was kind of distracted, so that was a bit of a noob mistake. But we finished off their tier 4, and now we are free to cap this point. And right there, you see me load my heat rounds. That's because I forgot to at the beginning of the match. Yeah, the heat rounds on this vehicle are just insane. And now you're going to get an idea of the alpha damage of this vehicle. 616 damage. As you can see, you can roll well over the 605 that it says in the garage. I really don't know why it says that. That's kind of weird if you ask me. So, we plant another shot into the T72. The combination of alpha damage and reload on this vehicle is just so ridiculous. I mean, I'm gonna be totally honest with you here. I really don't think it needs to be this good. It's just, I think it's a little bit overtuned. And in my opinion, this is the best tier 4 main battle tank in the game. This, in my opinion, definitely beats the M60, definitely beats the Chieftain. I haven't played the T64A yet. I assume it's more or less the same as this, but, you know, I'll make that conclusion whenever I get around to playing that vehicle. So I pinged the map for that Scorpion 90 to go do something about the other cap, which is now being controlled by the enemies, and unfortunately that guy never really did anything the whole game. He pretty much just sat in that same spot, so I don't know, I guess GG Scorpion. So now I'm moving up to try to, I guess, go take care of the 1 cap myself. Trying to get shots at these enemies while I'm on the move. Doesn't happen. And just look at how nippy this thing is. This thing is just so fast. It's so easy to reposition and stuff in this vehicle. Very, very flexible tank. So, we are continuing to push up.
We really should not be losing this match right now. We have the advantage.
And there's Zalo S gets spotted in front of me. Put a shot into him while I'm on the move. It's another example of the crazy alpha damage on this vehicle. It took a lot of that guy's health off. Pretty much 2-shot him. There's just nothing he could do. Kill their 800 T-Law.
Heat rounds, heat rounds, heat rounds.
And in the background you can hear me saying heat rounds over and over again. By now I think you can tell that I really enjoyed the heat rounds on this vehicle. They're very, very powerful. And here's an example of the armor on this vehicle. That autoloader could not even penetrate our side armor whenever it was flat on, and, you know, of course, whenever we sharpen the angle of our front, then he's definitely not going to be doing any damage to us. Armor on this vehicle is just very strong. T72 strong, Russian bias, yes. Da. Suka blat. I don't think I said that right, I'm so sorry. I probably just made all of you cringe. So, we make our way into the 1 cap. And right now, this game is looking pretty good for us.
Definitely had games like that where we had the advantage, but the team was just like that bad. It's very sad.
So, we finished capping the 1 point. And now we are ahead. But don't worry, my team will screw it up later. Just wait. It'll happen, I promise. So now we're going to push to this ridge, see if we can get shots down into the enemies on the airstrip. And we spot an enemy 800T Law. You gotta feel bad for this guy. He peeks over this ridge and he sees me and this other guy. He didn't really have a chance. And look at that roll. We just did 750 damage to that guy. This gun is so crazy. Give him a little bit of a love bump there. 200 damage. And we finish him off.
Okay, good.
And so now we are going to push up and engage this M60. And we are going to be fairly aggressive, you know, because T72. He bounces off us and we put one into him. Give the M60 a little bit of a love bump. 100 damage. Plant one more into him with our ridiculous reload and we cook him up.
Cook him up? Oh, yeah.
So now we're going to see if we can reset the cap by shooting this T72 who is out in the open. But unfortunately we donk the shot and our reload is not that good and he is able to cap. Try to put one on the move into the 800T Law, but we miss. And this time it was kind of this guy's fault that he died. I mean, he just let me do this to him. Like, he didn't even try to get away.
Gosh, auto loaders are so loud.
And right here is our first death. We die to the airstrike.
Man.
Yep, rip. Doesn't matter how much armor you have, you can't protect yourself against airstrikes. But it's not a big deal. It was a really good run. Barely took any damage from enemy tanks, and we did a lot of damage. Very good asset to our team in this vehicle. So I'm just going to fast forward it to the next important happening / event type thing. So the enemies control both the caps now, and I know that I need to make a move right now because this is, you know, crunch time. If I let them get ahead now, they're probably going to win the game. So I bomb it into the 4-cap. I was very anxious that one of those 800T Laws on their team was going to come flying around the corner and reset because, you know, those things that just reset the cap by, you know, damaging one of your viewports or your tracks or something. And if you ask me, that's not really a mechanic that should be in the game. They should have to get around your flanks if they want to reset. You shouldn't, you know, lose your cap points for taking damage to external modules. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But fortunately that doesn't happen and we take this cap point. So we take a bunch of damage from enemy airstrike. And now we are going to push up to engage this Zalo S on the enemy team. Put a shot into him while we're on the move. And he tracks us but does no damage.
That thing has super gun depression. Jeez.
He bounces another shot off of us. As you can see, T-72's armor is pretty strong. We're bouncing equal tiered tank destroyers. And now we are going to push up to try to kill this guy. So we move up and peek over the hill here. And of course we donk the kill shot.
It's always the kill shot that I miss.
But thankfully this thing's armor is good enough to make mistakes like that, and we reload and finish him off. This is really the style of play that you want to be performing whenever you're playing your T72. Just very aggressive, very in-your-face type gameplay. Just, you know, be a bully, because that's what this tank is. As you can see, we are bullying this 800T Law into submission. But unfortunately, he finishes us off with his rocket thing. I don't really know what that thing is. I just know that sometimes it, you know, just does damage without needing to penetrate. But I'm going to fast forward again. As you can see, our team has been pretty much camping in the back the whole time, and we are now losing this game. But I'm going to try to pull off a miracle. I'm going to try to get these caps for us and bring it back. But there's not much of a chance of me being able to clutch this game. So I push into the 5-cap. The enemies are already on the 6-cap. And right now I'm pretty much anticipating that something is going to fly around the corner and, you know, shoot one of my modules or something and reset. And At this point, I was pretty much just like, okay, this game's over. There's no way I'm going to be able to bring this back. But I didn't give up. I don't give up. Even in these situations, I still try to do as much damage as possible and, try to hope for a miracle. But, yeah. And there you go. 800T Law flies around the corner and resets, doing no damage to me because, AW game mechanics and autoloaders don't mix. And there went my last strand of hope for winning this game. There's no way I'm going to be able to bring it back now. No way. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this game. I'm going to go ahead and end it here and go to the end game results. So, as you can see, we do 15,500 damage, we get 5 kills, and 5,000 experience. That's a very good result for this vehicle. It's only a tier 4, so that's a lot of damage, a lot of, just overall very good game for a vehicle of this tier. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to carry this team. When you get teams like this, it's very hard to clutch, so I'm not that good of a player. But yeah, I feel like it was a pretty good result as far as just raw statistics went. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this replay. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of this vehicle. I hope you guys found this informational. And tonight I'm live streaming at 7, so that's like should be about an hour from whenever I post this video. So definitely tune into that. Going to be grinding the T72A, which is the vehicle after this tank. So yeah, that pretty much does it for this video. Peace out.
Look at my neck shine, look at my wrist shine, yeah. My diamond mom make you blind, yeah. Let him in 5 at a time, ooh. I just be smoking on dope.